Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. Now, today I'm excited because we're going to be cracking the code of reality. And this is going to be part of a series in which we're going to explore all the ideas in which I believe are the fundamental mechanisms of reality. So, you guys know what to do if you like this kind of content. You gotta follow this and share it amongst anybody that you feel could find some value in this. All right, so human beings have always been searching for the hidden code behind reality. The invisible principles, the deeper laws, the patterns that seem to govern our lives. Scientists have searched for them and continue to do so. Philosophers have searched for them, mystics, religions. Today, I'm going to explore a few of these patterns that have fascinated me. Some of them have been borrowed from religious texts, some of them have been borrowed from spiritual principles, but we're trying to integrate them all so that this can be as helpful as possible. And I don't believe these laws actually exist independently of one another. They are, in some way, shape, or form, interconnected, like gears inside the same machine. One law always, in some way, shape, or form, influences another. The other principle also strengthens the other principle. So, together, they shape the reality that we experience. And let's begin with what I believe is the foundation of them all. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Proverbs 23, verse 7. That is the law of mind. Another ancient Hermetic principle. It's actually the first ancient Hermetic principle. The all is mind, and the mind is all. Many spiritual traditions have expressed this idea like in different ways, but they all seem to point to one fascinating possibility. In fact, I wouldn't even call it a possibility in my estimation. I've seen this happen so many times. I've seen the results of this so many times that I can conclude that this is a reality. Mind perceives experience. Thought influences attention. Attention influences beliefs, and then beliefs influence identity. Finally, identity influences behavior. This is the chain that begins in the mind. The mind is the source of reality. You know, uh, Many times we believe that we're dealing with a physical world, an objective world that is somehow, some way different, right? Distinctly different from the subjective world, which is mind, right? So many people do not understand that perhaps mind is the fundamental cause of what we call the universe. Max Planck even stated it himself that there must be an intelligent force. All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force, right? Listen to this, guys. All matter originates by virtue of a force. We must assume behind this force the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind. This mind is the matrix of all matter. The very composition of the physical world, from my estimation, is derived from mind. Everything that you experience has to interact with your mind. And in fact, your mind has to shape your experiences. It has to interpret your experiences and give meaning behind those experiences. Everything is derived from the mind. That is the primordial cause of all experience. Mind. Everything is mind, and mind is everything. Everything appears to be physical, but look at the physical world that we experience. All the things that are within your purview right now, all existed in a mind, either the human mind or the universal mind. You got a laptop in front of you, you got a cell phone in front of you. These are all objects that originated from mind. They came from an individual's imagination and then they were produced in the physical world. Nothing in this physical world comes to being without first being caused by mind. There was a story with Neville Goddard about wanting to return to Barbados while he was living in New York. I think some of you most probably know the story. If you don't, sit back and listen. So, Neville Goddard didn't have any money to get to Barbados. He didn't have a ticket, he didn't have a plan at all. But he had a mentor. His mentor was Abdullah. And Abdullah simply told him, "You are already in Barbados." Right? Seems contradicting, right? Neville Goddard clearly was living in New York. That's the physical evidence, right? That he is in New York. Yet Abdullah, his mentor, declared to him that you are already in Barbados. So Neville protested, obviously he's looking at it from the conscious mind lens. That just does not correlate with the evidence of my perception. My perception tells me that I'm living in New York. So he explained to Abdullah all the reasons why it wasn't possible. Oh, I don't have enough money. Oh, I don't have any kind of plan. Oh, I don't have any kind of transportation to get there. Abdullah heard all of these explanations and reasons, and he still refused to entertain the discussion. Whenever Neville mentioned New York, Abdullah interrupted him and said repeatedly, "You are in Barbados." So this instruction isn't about pretending. It's about occupying the state internally before the external evidence exists, because everything is caused by mind. If mind can see it, then there is a higher likely chance that it will manifest or unfold in the physical world. But it cannot unfold in the physical world if mind has not yet internalized it first. So Abdullah kept telling Neville Goddard, "You are in Barbados." It's about occupying the state internally. So weeks later, circumstances started unfolding in unexpected ways, and Neville eventually found himself traveling to Barbados. So he had finally understood what Abdullah was trying to communicate to him, that it's not about where you're at right now, what your physical eyes are showing you. It's all about your state of being, your state of consciousness, or your state of mind. If Neville Goddard could convince his mind, despite the sensory evidence that contradicted, if he could convince his mind that he was already in Barbados, then the physical universe will arrange itself with all the hidden forces to see to it that that is materialized. So Neville Goddard found himself traveling to Barbados from one declaration. "You are in Barbados." That one sentence changed Neville Goddard's life. So whether someone interprets this literally, psychologically, or symbolically, it's not the point. The deeper question one individual should ask themselves: can an inner state precede an outer reality? And if you're honest with yourself, if you look and you pay attention to the circumstances that you're currently in, you will realize that mind was source. External reality begins as an internal state. The mind is not merely reacting to reality, it is an active participant. So that is the first principle. All is mind, and watch how this connects with all the other principles that I'm going to mention. Now let's get to the second principle. And this principle is probably one that is the most powerful if you know how to use it correctly, right? And this is the principle that is related to compound, right? So Albert Einstein even was quoted saying that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. So what does he mean by that? What does Lao Tzu mean when he says the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one single step? So if the law of mind explains the source, right? If all is mind explains the source of reality, then compound explains the process. Reality appears designed to amplify repeated causes. That is the fundamental principle that breeds abundance. Time is what creates compound. Every single day passes, and hours pass, minutes pass, seconds pass, and they all accumulate. And not only do they accumulate day in and day out, they compound. One thought, right? Just one thought changes little. 10,000 thoughts creates a worldview. One action, a little action, changes little. Years of repeated action creates a lifestyle. One little habit changes a little. A lifetime of habits literally creates destiny. So imagine like a snowball's rolling down a mountain. At first it barely grows, it's tiny. And then the change is almost visible. Then starts gathering momentum, gathers more snow, slowly increases in size, the momentum increases, and eventually the snowball becomes enormous. Not because there's some magical intervention, some divine intervention that happened which created some kind of miracle. No, it's because small causes were repeated and they were amplified. So, compound is a principle inherent within reality that serves you, right? But it can also be detrimental because if you don't understand compound correctly, you don't understand that every single little thing counts because it's going to be repeated, right? Every single thing that we do, we're beings of habits, right? We're habitual beings. We find something that we perceive to work or we consider valuable, and we act in that way in a habitual way, which means every single thing that we do, every single thing that we say, every single thought, every single emotion accumulated through a long stretch of time then starts breeding and producing a reality. Many times people see the compound result of their decisions and they're like, how the hell did I get here? How the hell am I broke right now? I've been working at this company for 5 years and look at me, I am broke. Look at me. I have tried to exercise, right? Once or twice, maybe. But 5 years later have passed and I've got a mkaba. That means you got some fat in your belly. And you wonder, how did I get here? All those little meals, all those little junk foods that you were consuming eventually accumulated, it compounded and gave you the results that you're experiencing right now. But compound also works in the opposite, it works in the positive. Every little action that you take that is pushing you towards a beautiful outcome, you're working hard to save and you're saving a modest amount. Eventually, that modest amount, if it is compounded correctly, will produce wealth for you. All those little exercises that you do, those walks, lifting weights, doing it consistently, You will not see results in a few weeks, but if you continue, the compound will work in your favor and you will get the body you desire. This works with every single thing in reality. Reality compounds, and that is a mechanism that breeds abundance, because nature does not know how to create something that is absent of abundance. When you look at trees, when you look at the blades of grass, when you look at the grains of sand on the beach, life is inherently abundant. And it's abundant because there's little things that accumulate and compound and create a majestic experience that we call reality. Compound appears to be one of reality's favorite mechanisms. Time simply allows compound to express itself. So time is a servant of compound, and use it to your benefit. Always know that the law of compound is in effect, for the good or for the bad. Okay, now let's get to the third code of reality. That is, every seed grows after its kind. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Galatians 6 verse 7. Please understand that an orange seed will always, without fail, produce orange trees. Not because someone forces them to, or there's some kind of mechanism that ensures that this happens. No, because the effect already exists within the cause. Let me say that again for you so that you understand. The effect already exists within the cause. Reality appears to behave in a very similar way. Thoughts produce corresponding experiences. Every thought is a seed, and every thought will produce an experience that is alike to it. Beliefs produce corresponding behaviors. Every belief system has an encoded behavior as a result. That's just how it goes. You cannot have a belief system that is negative and then expect that to produce positive behaviors. It just does not work like that. It does not work like that. Every seed grows after its kind. Habits, every single habit that you have, which is accumulation of behavior, right? It's compounded behavior. These habits always have an encoded outcome. Every single action that we take for a continuous amount of time has an outcome encoded into it. You cannot continuously act in one direction and expect to go in an opposing direction. It doesn't work like that. Every action has a corresponding future. Every single thing. Take note of every single thing that you are doing or that you have done today. Let's localize it and make it today. Every single thing that you did today has a future encoded into it, which means every single action that you have taken will grow after its kind. So do an analysis on the kind of actions that you've been taking today and ask yourself, is this an action that will produce a future that will be pleasurable, or will it produce a future that will make you suffer? But this law will always remain true. You cannot do something and then expect an opposing result that is different from the action or the thought or the emotion that you were the cause of. Every cause contains a future. Every single cause. Every single seed already contains its produce. So what seeds are you planting every single day? That is a question one needs to ask themselves. What are you planting every single day? Because your life is like a garden, right? And the way this thing is set up is if you're not planting seeds, right, that have produce that is beneficial for you, then seeds will be planted for you that will bring up weeds. The system is designed for you to push yourself forward, or if you neglect, the system will destroy you. If you want to befriend reality, plant seeds in every single frame, in every single moment that has a produce, a future that is beneficial for you, and compound will work in your favor. Next is the mirror principle. See, when you look at a mirror and you see your reflection, the mirror did not create that reflection. Okay. It merely reflects. That's all a mirror does. It merely reflects. If you're looking at a mirror and you are frowning, the mirror is going to reflect a person who is frowning. Okay. How stupid would it be to try and change the mirror so that that frown can turn into a smile? How foolish would it be to try and adjust the mirror instead of tending to the one that the mirror is reflecting? Your body reflects your habits. Your body is a reflection of your habits. Your habits are a reflection of your repeated behaviors. Your behaviors are a reflection of your identity. Your identity is a reflection of your belief systems, and your belief systems are a reflection of what you have repeatedly paid attention to. So many people go on about and say, I'm not happy with my life. Oh, reality is not working in my favor. Life is just hard. Life is a challenge. And you're expecting life to somehow behave differently when you have asserted, remember, you are cause, all is mind, right? You are cause. You have implanted or you have impressed your mind with a notion about what life is, and you expect life not to reflect that? That seems contradictory. Think of a thermometer, for example. A thermometer never creates temperature, right? When you look at the thermometer depicting a certain temperature, it didn't create that temperature. It's merely reflecting or revealing a temperature. So if you dislike the reading, right? If you don't like the temperature that is being shown in the thermometer, smashing the thermometer will not do anything. I don't like this temperature. And then you throw it away. Does it change the temperature? What does that do? Effectively does nothing. The source remains untouched. So this is what many people get wrong. Many people attempt to change the reflection while leaving the cause intact. Deal with the cause first. That is a primordial goal, because that is what is producing the reality that you are experiencing, right? So once an individual can understand that, then everything, begins to work in your favor. Because once you understand this principle, it changes everything. You no longer rely on reality to change. We look at ourselves and make the change. And because reality, right? Because reality is nothing but a reflection of who we are, then it has no choice. Reality has no choice but to reflect that which you are cause of. Bruce Lee was once quoted saying, "We start by dissolving our attitude, not by altering our outer conditions." Bruce Lee understood this law. He understood it in such a way that he could see changing outer conditions does nothing if you have not yet dissolved or corrected your mental attitude. So, reality is always reflecting hidden causes back to us. And then when things come to us as experience, we are dumbfounded as to how it is that we have attracted this. We are dumbfounded, we are perplexed as to how it is that we could create such a reality. Reality is not against you, it's merely reflecting to you who you have become or who you have accumulated. Let's rephrase that. Reality is merely reflecting all the accumulated decisions that you have made. So don't attack reality. Don't reject reality. Don't be upset with reality. Treat it like a mirror. Look within, and the outer conditions will sort themselves out. This is a principle, okay? This is not something that you try and hope it works. It's a principle, which means it's ingrained in the system. Don't go against it. So let's go to the fifth way in which we can look at the code of reality, and that is rhythm and language. That is the signal of reality. That's one of actually the Hermetic principles, it's the law of rhythm. But now I'm adding this law with language. This is probably one of the most overlooked principles because many people haven't looked at it from this lens. Just imagine social media, for example. Someone posts once every 3 months, right? That's their rhythm, that's their cadence. And then another person, another individual, posts consistently. They post once every day. So they've created a rhythm, they've created a cadence. So the algorithm recognizes the rhythm, it recognizes the pattern that is most consistent and that has a predictable cadence. Not because this algorithm has favorites, but because it detects a rhythm. Consistency strengthens visibility because there is a rhythm, and whatever has a rhythm, reality registers. But rhythm alone isn't enough. You can have the rhythm, you can do things consistently, but if you lack the language which determines what signals being transmitted, the rhythm becomes obsolete. They have to be married together. Think about advertising, right? Think about advertising companies. Nobody buys because of one advertisement, or it seldom happens, right? What tends to happen is that companies repeat the same message again and again and again and again and again. This rhythm strengthens familiarity. And then the language then shapes that perception. And eventually behavior changes. I mean, think about it for a second, right? Think about the news channels. Whenever it is that they want you to believe a certain narrative, they have to repeat that narrative over and over and over again. They have to establish a rhythm. They have to establish a cadence. And then they lock that in by repeating language, repeated phrases that lock your brain. The collective humanity is affected by this. It locks your brain into a mode of perception, which will then ultimately change your behavior. And these companies know this. They know it very well because they've studied these principles and they apply it. They don't worry if it's going to work. They don't concern themselves of whether or not it's going to work because it's a principle and it will work eventually. Repeated languages, repeated assumptions, repeated thoughts, repeated emotions, repeated identity, repeated broadcasts, the signal grows stronger, right? So whatever it is that you want to improve in your life, establish a rhythm, establish cadence, establish some form of action that you take religiously, and then contain that experience using the right language. So you can affirm this verbally or using the right language internally. Every single action needs to be encoded with the language, and that is how magic happens. Every single thing has a rhythm. If you look at any physical item in this universe, the only reason you see it repeatedly as the same thing, objects are permanent in however the way they are structured. Obviously, if they modify it and stuff, they will change. What I'm saying is, if you look at a couch, if you look at a laptop, the appearance of it seems consistent because it's vibrating or it has a specific rhythm within its vibration. And this rhythm is repeated. So you see the same thing, right? You call it a computer all the time. So you have locked in the language, which then amplifies that rhythm. And it becomes a consistent computer that you see every single day. And it's the same thing. Every single thing in reality has a rhythm. And every single thing in reality that we know is labeled with language. So we can identify it, right? So once you understand that rhythm and language, once working together, creates your experience. Develop your own unique cadence, develop your own unique rhythm. Study your life. Your life has rhythms, and study the language that you use to contain your experiences. Now, let's look at how all these laws work together, right? This is where things become interesting because many people think these principles are separate. They aren't, they interact. The law of mind produces thought, compound amplifies thought. Every thought becomes a seed. Reality mirrors that seed. Rhythm and language strengthen that seed. And each law influences the next. It's like a gear inside the same machine, right? So reality isn't random. It operates through law. It operates through principles. And they are working at every single moment, whether you recognize them or not, right? So the law of mind or the law of rhythm, every seed produces unto its kind. The fact that there's a mirror principle, these all correlate with each other. And if you understand every single principle that I mentioned today and you apply it into your life, I promise you transformation. Promise, it's guaranteed. It's just a matter of time. But do not look towards the outside world for evidence. Look towards the internal world to see the evidence. The evidence should be produced internally, not externally. Do not look for evidence externally. Because why? The cause is always mind. Mind is always cause. See it in your mind, convince your mind you have it already, and the physical systems will take care of themselves. So, I'm going to invite you to observe your thoughts, observe your language, observe your rhythms, observe your cadences, observe your habits, observe your assumptions, observe your results. Reality is leaving clues for you. It's leaving little clues for you, always reminding you that you are at cause. And perhaps cracking the code of reality isn't about discovering something new. It's about recognizing the patterns and the principles that have been operating around you and within you all along. All right, so we are going to end this episode right here. And this is a series, which means I am going to have another banger video about other principles in which we're looking at the code of reality, understanding the mechanisms of reality, so that once you take in these principles, you become a master of your life. So we're going to end it off here. And you guys know what to do. If you found this valuable, if you found this helpful, like and share. And to end it off, as I always end it off, for those who seek, seek no more, for in the present we find it all. Thank you very much, guys.